I am so excited because the Step Out TV shows are back live on T2i TV. And for those who don't know, Step Out is a series of interviews and motivational segments designed to bring the best out of you and your business. Therefore, we have the following TV programs. Our first TV program, which is our flagship program, dubbed Step Out with Oscar Bimpong, is designed to interview consultants, experts, talented people, and those doing exceptionally well in their communities. The second one is Step Out SME Focus. This is where we interview business owners and showcase their products and services. The third one is Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is where we interview young people succeeding against all odds to serve as an inspiration to other young people. And the last one is Step Out Authors Corner. And this is where we interview authors to share what their book is about to the world. Join us every week at 7 p.m. GMT. Like T2i TV on Facebook and subscribe to the YouTube channel. To advertise or for further information, do WhatsApp +44 759 1152 983 or +233 55 580 3924 or email info@traintoinspire.com. T2i TV. We engage, educate, enlighten, and empower.
Welcome to another exciting edition of the Step Out TV show. And today, our show that we have for you is the Step Out Youth Impact Zone. This is one of my passions. This kind of discussion is directed to the youth. That is, we want to impact the youth of the world with a strategy focused on the youth of the African continent and young Black people in diaspora. We believe that it is time for us to empower the young people. It is time to educate them outside the classroom. It is time to help them in their personal development. It is time for us to help them in their career and in their business. Because on the African continent, for example, education outside the classroom for young people is a challenge. Our media space is being flooded with politics, entertainment, and sports to the detriment of education that is meant to shape the lives and the minds of the young people. And this is why we have created this platform. This platform is going to be an educational hub for the African continent. That is to help young people and to help the continent to grow, for them to believe that it's possible. Meaning that we are going to bring people on the show that are meant to really inspire hope, experts that are going to really talk in their areas to help people to be well informed, and also to bring people that are talented and making a difference in their communities. We want to become the next powerful educational platform that the African continent can rely on to build the continent. And today, I have a powerful woman. I'm going to introduce her later. Before I introduce her, I want you to know that this program is being sponsored by P&Q Personnel. P&Q Personnel is your agency for hiring healthcare assistants and nurses based in the UK. If you are based in the UK and you need a job as a healthcare assistant, whether you've got training or you don't have training, or you are a nurse, contact P&Q Personnel. There is a WhatsApp number scrolling on the screen. Just contact us and we are going to link them to you. Also, ALS Global Shipping and Logistics, your trusted import and export company based in Accra. call them on +233 24 331 4438 for all your shipping needs and for further details. Now, let me go straight to business because time has already been spent and I have got my guest sitting and waiting to join us. And I have known this woman for some time now. She has got 2 decades of professional experience in the UK charity sector. She is a leadership coach, a consultant. Her passion is coaching and mentoring young people. And she is the director of Right Impressions. Who is this woman that I'm talking about? She is the director of Morin, Carew. Please welcome to Step Out Youth Impact Zone TV show, and you are live on T2i TV.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Oscar. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Now I'm blushing. For this great opportunity to share. You know, these are some of the platforms that will help us to push this passion for young people to get up and achieve what they're able to, because I think part of the problem is the fact that they don't realize that they are able to. So I really want to, and I thank God as well for making this opportunity available to both of us to further our passion in bringing up young people. So thank you so much for bringing me on this show tonight.
Thank you also for your time to be with us, to share knowledge to the young people out there. Now, let me go straight to business. Today, we are going to talk about building a strong foundation for young people. But before I go on to business, Morin Carew, in brief, I mean brief.
Okay.
I really missed my introduction.
Okay, so Morin Carew, wow, I wear so many hats. I don't even know where to start, but you said very briefly. I think because we're on the show for young people, I think I will talk more about my passion for young people. And so Morin Carew is the director of Right Impressions, like you rightly said. Founded my business in 2000, and the thrust of Right Impressions is really to bridge the gap between the society and the church. In year 2000, I discovered that there was a gap, and you know, I believe that God laid on my heart to come in to bring some management skills to the church. So I started with doing leadership training, as well as advising on day-to-day running of organizations. Later, I went to do my MBA to add on to the skills and the talent that I believe that God has given me. And yes, here I am today. And along the way, as I began to my life, I realized that I had missed out on some things and I'm doing some catching up. And I thought, you know what, if I had somebody mentoring me earlier on, especially along the business line, possibly I would have gone into business earlier. So that's the that I have. And being a mother as well, I wanted young boys. I wanted to start them off early on this journey, discovering who and making their mark in. So that's me for brief.
Wow, wow, wow. That was a full page instead of a half page, but that is okay. Yes. So I think probably you have even answered the next question. That is why your passion for young people. Now tell me about yourself growing up.
Right. So an aspect that I left out from that, actually, talking about my passion for young people. When I gave my life to Christ in 1984, I had a wonderful mentor. So I think that also impacted me in wanting to mentor young people. I thought I'd better just mention that as well. So now coming down to your question. Sorry, can you repeat that again?
I say, tell me about yourself growing up.
So growing up, I was a little spoiled. I was a typical daddy's girl. I grew up in a family of 8 children. For a long time, I didn't even own a skirt because I wanted boys, you know, climbing trees, playing football, and sometimes, you know, covering up for them. You know, as you know, in Africa, the girls, you know, our fathers are quite hard. And because my dad has soft spot, my brothers will always say to me when they've done something wrong, tell daddy it's you. So I was their partner, was their, you know, go-to person. I remember in those days when they wanted to go to parties, you know, and they would want to take the car. So they would say to me, tell daddy you want to go to the party, because they know he will surely give them the car. And he will tell them, oh, you take your sister there and bring her back. I'm sure my dad knew that it was them that wanted the car, but, you know, he indulged them anyway. And so, yes, I was a daddy's girl, typical daddy's girl. You know, had everything that I wanted, got the driver driving me to everywhere that I wanted to go, you know, very spoiled, very pampered, young girl growing up. And also growing up with, you know, in a large family, I suppose gave me a heart because of for young people as well, because I have 4 younger siblings, you know, after me. So typical African home, being the first girl, you're classified as daddy's second wife. That means, you know, you do your share of cooking, washing, you know, that sort of a thing. So I grew up looking after my younger siblings as well. I remember the last 2, actually, you know, by the time my parents had the last 2 children, I had graduated to becoming their parents in terms of going for parents-teachers meeting on behalf of my parents, you know. So sometimes I wonder if that's what made me marry late, because I just felt I've had enough of children for now. I just want to be by myself when I came to the UK.
Wow.
You know, it was very interesting because it was a big family. So a lot of squabbling as well, you know, and fighting for stuff. I still remember when I'm frying plantain and my brothers would come, dip their hands in and go, terrible, you know. So it was growing up fun. A lot of fun. It was, yeah, I enjoyed my childhood. I did.
Wow, that's a very pampered child in need. But,
yeah.
but do you think pampering children, like from the perspective of what you are saying, do you think in our generation, does it really make them work harder? Does it make them to be more disciplined, or it makes them worse?
I think it depends on what you mean by pampering, because although my dad indulged me, I knew that to maintain being my dad's little girl, I had to do well in school. So I think it's really understanding your parents. So it depends on what the pampering is all about. Like my parents didn't shield me from real life, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
He was still very strict with us. He was a disciplinarian. He was actually in the army, so you can imagine growing in that kind of household. So even though he indulged me a lot, he made me realize what was important to him. And because I loved my parents, I wanted to please them as well anyway. So I knew that education was very important to my parents. Being respectful was very important to my parents. And so because you didn't, you know, disgrace them, because that's it, you know, you have another family name. So you had that burden on you anyway, you know, and especially as girls, you know, they'll tell you, if you as much as smile to a young man, you're going to get pregnant. You know how we do that in Africa. Our sex education is different to what you get here. So I think there are pros and cons to pampering your children. One thing that I have tried to do, even though, you know, I love my children, I spend time with them, is to not shield them from the facts of life. Right from when my children were very young, I told them, life is not fair. Get over it. So they didn't grow up with that sense of entitlement that maybe some people grew up with. They knew that just because they wanted something doesn't mean that it was automatic. We will sit, it was either no, yes, or wait. And they knew that those three were very valid answers from us. So I think it depends on what the pampering is. For me, the pampering that I received from my dad was more of that assurance that he loved me unconditionally. The kind of love that made me discuss whatever topic with my dad. I still remember when I was like 16, he would still buy me clothes, and go to your room, go and try them on and come and show me, Remember, he had a special brush because I used to have heat rash on my back, and he would do that for me, scratch my back for me. So it was that kind of pampering, not that, not the one that makes you irresponsible, but the made you assured of your father's love. Wow. And I think it prepared me, because then I didn't feel like I needed a man in my life when I was growing up, if you see what I mean. I had my brother's love, I had my daddy's love. So I wasn't looking for anything in man, because you hear some people who've gone through abuse saying that they were looking for love. I was not sure. Do you see what I mean? So it depends on the kind of pampering.
Wow. Yeah, I think I really agree with you. It depends on the kind of pampering that actually one receives. And I think for some, it has made them wayward, and for some, it has also made them stronger and really built a strong foundation for them.
Yeah. If I can just say something just before you go, you talking about some making them wayward. I remember when I was telling my colleague that my children never acted up in the shops when they were growing up, and she was like, "Really?" And I said, "Yes, it's how you train them." As much as I love my children, they knew that just because they were in a store and they wanted a chocolate, if I said no, that no was no. No acting. It never happened. Never. So again, like I said, it depends on the kind of pampering. So please.
Yes. Pampering, but with a bit of strictness for them to understand that, look, giving them reasons why they don't deserve at this moment. And I think that is what a lot of parents, they need to do. Because you see, we need to drive this in this generation of young people that we have. If we are not able to do that, then it is like, because when we were growing up, we didn't have access to so many things.
That's right.
Like my son wearing Nike top and down. I'm like, man, in our generation, where are you going to find that? But this is the new generation. And he thinks because everybody is wearing it, he has to also wear it. But if the means is not there, then how do you wear it? And that is one thing that we need to let them understand. Do you think young people of today have a strong foundation to face the future as compared to your days?
If I'm going to be very honest, it's yes and no. Because again, it depends on the kind of parenting that you give your children. Now, if I look at my children, for instance, where I have said to them right from when they were growing up, and they will come to me and they will say, "Mom, that's not fair," because they felt that maybe I was partial towards one person. And I go to them, "Look, life is not fair. Get over it. You're not going to get fairness from anyone. So the sooner you begin to understand that, the better for you." Now, I know that in my generation, a lot of parents, because of the need to survive, unfortunately, have not been able to spend quality time with their children. Okay. And because of that, some children have grown up on their own and have become very, very streetwise, to the extent that although they're streetwise, they are irresponsible because they have been left on their own. And so it means that, possibly they went to bed whenever they wanted. I mean, I've had occasions where, I'll be in the public transport and the parent is on her way to work and telling the child, "Okay, this is how you do, make sure you get to school." Whereas for me, I would have made sure my son has set off from home. So when we look at that, it's very difficult because I don't like generalization. But I think that, yes, there is a gap in the parenting that we probably have given children growing up now in this coming the next generation to us. I think that some parents as well have not been as firm with their children the way they ought to be. Like you said, my children don't wear designers, for instance, because right from when they were young, I told them, you don't have to. Just the fact that other people are wearing it doesn't mean that you have to. Do you get what I'm saying? I made them to realize that you don't have to be part of the crowd. Actually, you should be proud to stand out. Why should you follow the crowd? And things like that. And if they wanted something, then they will need to wait for it. So all that kind of instant gratification was not there in my house growing up. Do you see what I mean? Like with my children. Whether that some children have that. I mean, I remember my first son didn't have a phone until when he left secondary school. Even some parents like, how did he cope? I'm like, it's how you bring up your children. Do you see what I mean? You know, if you let them know what your values are, then they will respect it. Children are always pushing boundaries, but you have to make sure that you stand your ground. And I think that's where a lot of parents are failing. They give in too easily to their children. Do you get what I tell my children? Look, you are my assignment from God, and I'm going to give him an account. So I don't want to fail. Do you get what I'm saying? So both of us have the responsibility. They don't want mommy to fail God. So I don't want to fail God. So do you know what I mean? So like, all right, mom, you have to be on your best behavior. And I have to be on my best behavior. So it's things like that. When you have a holistic approach, parenting, you know, because I believe that what we do speaks a lot to our children than what we even say to them. Do you get what I'm saying? Like even us, when we're going out as a group, I will tell them, take your carrier bag with you. That's going to be our dustbin. I don't take littering. Do you see what I mean? Be polite to strangers, and I am emphatic. I don't excuse bad behavior. I deal with it, and I will tell them, I have to deal with this because if I don't, you will get used to it. So I need you to create good habits growing up. So I think parents need to really look deep into, you know, how they bring up children so that they will become responsible in the future.
Wow. Wow. There is something I really want to ask you, and that is, now we are living in a generation where at a certain age, if you haven't broken your virginity, or if your virginity is not broken, then everybody thinks that the young people think that you are an outcast or you are not enough. With the young people, it's like you need to have, boys, you need to have a girlfriend, or if you're a girl, you need to have a boyfriend. If you're a guy, you need to start drinking at a certain age. And this peer pressure, I think in our time, your time, it was there, but it wasn't rampant. Now, do you think it's very still easy for you to say, look, my child, I can train them to overcome this obstacle? For example, let's look at pornography, for example. Now, pornography is just a click away on the WhatsApp. Our children are using phone. Sometimes they might watch something and they will delete it. You might be all the best security you can ever have in terms of trying to check on them, but they can matter than you. How do you work around this?
Right. So again, thank God I'm a parent. I can talk about what we do, my husband and I. First of all, we are Christians and we believe in praying for our children. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't have Christian children who misbehave. I think what worked for my husband and I, if we're going to use ourselves as an example, is the fact that right from when they were babies, we cultivated an environment where we can speak to each other. We can talk freely. No bars hold. I remember about 2 years ago, my children asked me very personal questions about their dad and I. Do you get what I'm saying? And I had to tell them, of course, God made it for us to enjoy it. Do you get what without, do you get me?
Yes,
and
exactly.
These are the kind of conversations we have. Do you get me? So when you shroud something in secrecy, sometimes that's when children are very curious. So this thing that you are taking, you are telling me it's not yet time. Let me, peep. But if you are open to your children and you give them the brass tacks, you let them know the reason why, as Christian parents, we also take them into the scripture. We show them what God's word says. We don't Bible bash our children. We let them know not that it's okay to sin, but God's provision if we do sin. But in terms of pornography and stuff, we speak to them and we tell them, this is our culture, this is our value in this home. This is not good for you. This is what it will, this will be the repercussion if you go into this. But at the end of the day, you get me? It's between, it's God and your values. And you just have to keep it. And you know, from time to time, we don't just tell them one day and we say, oh, I've told them everything about life, that's it. It's continuous. This is what I tell parents. It's continuous. You know, some days I may just wake up and I'll say to them, remember that's our conversation. So how's that going? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm in their face. I talk to them. I pull them aside. I pray with them. So I use both spiritual and physical things, you know, to speak to my children. So I've brought them so close that, thank God, they're able to share their hearts with their father and I. I remember how old was he when, you know, he was asking his dad, oh, when will it be okay to have sex? And that opened the door for his father to talk to him about it. Some children won't do that. You understand? Because it's been taboo. But if you let them know it's as natural as eating food, do you get me? And that there's just a time for everything, I think it will help a lot. I'm a very practical parent. Very practical. So I think sometimes this is our downfall. And it's not people's fault. It's because the African tradition does not make room for these things. Somehow, God helped me to overcome those barriers of my upbringing, because it wasn't like I had that, you know, something that I developed. Maybe, you know, God just helped me to realize that I need to have this open forum with my children. So I think that goes way. And I think one of the things that also helped me growing up, like I said, was being so sure of a loving home, of a loving father. So I didn't think that I needed somebody else's affirmation because I had, in fact, if anything, I had too much of it. Because I remember when I was in secondary, people used to say, you are too proud. And I'm like, why won't I be? I said I'm the most beautiful girl in the world, you know? So who's going to tell me otherwise? I've been hearing it every day. It's ingrained in my brain. You can't tell me I'm ugly. It's not possible.
Wow.
Those are the things.
Yeah, because I think you are trying to really answer my next question in a way.
Oh dear.
But do you think, how can African parents be open? Because I think some of these things you made mention of being a taboo. It's like something that we think we don't really want to be openly discuss it. But how can African parents be open about this? Because I think it's one of the areas that probably, especially Black people, when you look at London, a lot of people from the minority background, especially Black people, are really teenage pregnancy or single parenting is a lot. You know, no, how can they be open?
I think it's never too late to start. One of the ways that I would advise any parent, and I do from time to time get invited to speak on parenting, so this is something that I do practically, is that it's never too late to start. And it's never, don't be too proud to let your children know that you missed it. So you could call a conference with your children for and say, look, I know that so far, area of education or of closeness in our home, but we can start now. And I realized that there is a gap in our relationship with regards to these few topics, but I will want us to start. And then prayerfully start on that journey. It's never too late. Even if they're in their 20s, you'll have a new beginning with your children. So I think starting on the premise of trust and truth, powerful. Because you see, even with my children, if, say for instance, I told them off and it was wrong, do you know, I'm not too proud to say to my children, I'm actually sorry. I just realized that actually I shouldn't have said that. And I actually apologize, and they know that I mean it. So trust and truth, very important in any relationship. It's not only between husband and wife, between parents and children. And when you humble yourself before your children, they will respect you. They will respect you because saying to them, you are very important to me. Your life means a lot to me. When we were growing up in Africa, you have this feeling that, you know, parents couldn't wait for you to get out of the house, you know. You're more of a burden rather than you get a blessing. We need to bring our children close. If we don't train them, they will train them outside. I remember a lot of theory I heard outside. Thankfully, because of the closeness that I had with my parents, I was able to detect the truth from the lie. But not many children have that. So, like I'm saying, I know a lot of my mates that didn't, you know, spend the kind of time that I did with my children. My first, you know, our first son, my husband stayed 3 years at home, bringing him up. The second one, I was the one that stayed 3 years because we decided that we didn't want granny, television to bring up our children. So I used to tell people, it's actually I won't buy you and I won't wear. But you see these children, when they grow up, they will buy me the Ashwebi because I have spent quality time. So there's no time. I don't want people to be discouraged. There's no time that you cannot start afresh. When you admit, okay, I've gone wrong here, but we can make amends anytime. We can always make amends. And the premise is truth and building trust.
I think one of the statements that you made that I'm like, wow, that is apologizing to your children. In African setting, it doesn't matter whether you are right or wrong. Whenever you have got an issue with the elderly person, you have to lose. And I think that's one of the things that I think it also shapes the children in the way for them to also, when they grow up, even when they are poor, they think that they have to be the person has to apologize. And I think this thing, some of these traditions needs to change. Because if you are wrong, you are wrong. It doesn't matter whether you are older or you are younger.
Exactly.
It has to be plain. And I think these are some of the things that we have to look into. I have got, I think Peter Enemel has quoted you. He says, children are pushing the boundary. As a parent, you have to stand your ground. He says, Morin, good parenting advice. I think that's really powerful. Yes. But how do you think you can mold the children? I mean, every children, but with a strategic focus in Africa. Because it's like when you are on the ground.
Yes.
Africa, we are like on the ground. We are on tough times. Things are challenging. Economies, opportunities are very difficult to come by.
Yes.
How can we grow or really work on their mindset to believe that they can really achieve their goals in spite of all the challenges that they face on the continent?
Yes. Thank you very much for asking that question, because that is really the main thing that I deal with when I have my youth meetings and I have my youth programs. And it's the fact that I think in a lot of ways, we have been brought up to think that our minds have rule over us. One of the things that I'm teaching young people is that actually you have power over your thoughts rather than your thoughts having power over you. Why am I saying this? A lot of people grow up with a victim mentality. We have passed down through tradition. When I say tradition, like generation to generation, oh, this is the way the situation is. We are trapped. And therefore, it will only take luck to take you out of this rather than working. So we are problem-oriented rather than solution-oriented. Now, and again, I'm going to talk about myself. With my children, right from when they were young, I always say to them, so what do you think is a, when they come to me with a problem, and I turn back to them and I say, so what do you think is the solution? What I was trying to do to them and what I'm still trying to do is for them from an early age to be solutions-oriented rather than problem-oriented. Being a Black in diaspora, one of the things I told my children is, number one, you're a Christian. Number two, you have two parents who are educated. You don't have any excuse not to make. I've told them you have to look past your color. Like, we don't discuss color in my house. Not because we don't know that we are Black, but because I don't want them to think it's something that can hinder them from attaining whatever they have set their minds to do. Growing up, even in Nigeria, one thing that we know is that we have something called long leg. It's like you've been brought up with that mindset that without connection, you cannot make it. So how can somebody who is in the village, how can they have connection? Do you see what I mean? So already from birth, it's like that child has been set up to fail.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying? Because there has been nothing to inspire them to achieve. And once in a while, you have one or two, maybe their uncle came to the village and brought, took them, or from the town and took them to the city and said, okay, I'm going to be responsible for their education. But mostly they stay there. And that's the mindset that we have grown up with, that unless you have one big uncle or one big auntie that is working with the government or, is in an influential position, you really can't make it. So with the economic downturn, it just grew from bad to worse. But when you have children where you made them, like my dad made me believe I can become whatever I start to do. So you can imagine with that kind of mindset, if I saw any obstacle, I remember when I was in secondary school, my principal said, you can slap the head of state. That's how confident I was. I was a secretary of the Literary and Debating Society because I could talk. Nobody keep me down. So what I'm saying is our environment conditions us sometimes. We've been, so when you look at Africa as a whole, not many people are brought up to succeed because of that mindset that you always need a leg up. Now, I'm not saying that, look at us today. It's networking that has brought us together.
Of course.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that people don't help people, but you don't bring somebody up with the idea already formed in their minds that unless, luck comes on your side, you can't do much. and so we've been shaped by this conditional thinking. And so the mind has already been set in a particular way so that when obstacles now come, instead of you thinking of jumping over those obstacles, you're thinking, oh, here we go again, another obstacle. So the inspiration to overcome is not there. The power to do so. You look at most of even the people that have broken into the entertainment industry, look at their lifestyle. Lavish lifestyle. Why? They don't understand the true meaning of wealth. They're not using that wealth in a proper way. Girls and the ones that are ladies, it's all men. Do you get what I'm saying? You look into the industry, how many of them are living right? But they have their mindset, they're still prisoners of their mind. And so I think what we need to do as parents, it can start with us. Usually when I even do my post, I address it to grandparents, uncles, aunties, brothers, sisters, that let's begin to change the paradigm. We need a paradigm shift. We need to begin to raise our children, to let them know they're created in the image of God. They are set up for success right from birth. God gave you a gift and a talent when you were coming down here on earth. Discover it and pursue it. And then tell them, I am behind you. And as a parent, you are using all that you have to inspire your children, to push them towards achieving their goal. My son is in first year university. We're always asking him, what are you going to use this course for? I'm not going to for him to graduate before he begins to think about going to use his degree. I have so many that I mentor that they come out with their degree. They have no idea what they're going to do with it. And I'm, what were your parents looking at? Do you know what I'm saying? So things elementary, very elementary, but some of us have not grasped it as parents. So part of the problem is in Africa, we were brought up to think, it's failure, except luck comes into play. What I teach young people is that as Christians, you have been made in the image of God, you have dominion. So insert dominion mentality in them. So now they begin to see themselves differently. And then I teach them how to use their mind, because you see, our minds are tools that's given us, just like time, just like money. That's what God has given us our mind to do. You are supposed to sit down and dream, and those dreams you can follow.
Yes.
But a lot of bad thoughts to come in, and they think they don't have power over it. So now they become subject to their thoughts rather than mastering their minds and use their mind powerfully to create. When you dream big, then you tell yourself, so how do I achieve this? And you let your children know that there is no limit.
Wow.
How we're going to set up our young people to rather than to fail.
So are you saying the mind is the foundation of the success or failure of young people?
Yes, very much so. And it starts from when they are young, in the environment that you grow up with. That is why, you know, a lot of people, no matter, I mean, you know, you may take somebody from a poor background. If you don't work on the mindset, I mean, look at the old film, this Zan film. When he came to the city, he was still eating like, he had to be trained to become a human being because he grew up with apes. So the fact that he was a human being, he didn't realize that he was a human being. He grew up with it. He still ate on the table. I don't know if you watched the film before, Tarzan.
Tarzan, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah. So when they brought him into the city, look at the way he behaved. He could not, even with the wealth that surrounded him, did that change him? No. It had to be to without. So that is what we're talking about. If the mind has already been, that is why it's called mindset. You know, it's been conditioned in a particular way. So my job as somebody that works with young people is first of all to let them understand who God has made them to be, and then begin to let them also identify the tools that God has given them. And the mind is one of them. Your thoughts are words. They are creative. There's creative potential in your mind, in your thinking, your imagination. So I begin to work on those with them and say, look, these are things that God has given you. And a lot of them like, wow, you know, they didn't understand, they didn't realize. So the mind definitely is the foundation. Even the Bible says, it says, as a man thinketh, so is he.
Yes.
You know, so it really starts from the mind. So I thought that my father instilled in me that confidence for me to hold my anywhere. You know, I can talk, I'm not shy. And I'm sure if I told you about shy, you'd be like, oh, please tell me another lie, because that one is a lie. Do you get me? So definitely the mindset is very, very important. Very crucial. Not very important. It's the foundation. It's the foundation.
Wow, that's really a powerful point when it comes to the mind. And I think the liberation of the mind is the starting point to the success of young people.
That's right.
Now, you can really work on your mind.
Yes.
But if there are no opportunities, if there are so many roadblocks, if the system does not really give chance, but you still got that mindset of still pushing, is the mindset enough to really help young people to really break that code of success, especially on the African continent where it's a tough terrain, especially for young people? Because believe you me, young people are the most populated in Africa and are the most young across all the globe, but they are the most neglected. How can we do to really cause them to really push back against all odds to succeed?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's just changing their mindset, but one thing I have discovered is that you will gravitate towards where your mind is taking you. And what I mean by that is, especially if you have faith in God through Christ, you're prayerful, And you're not just saying, oh, I'm going to pray and then everything will fall into my lap. Because this is what I have done. When I discovered my mind was a tool, I began to use my mind creatively to attract what I'm thinking. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. I began to attract what I was thinking. And I think there is power in that. What has happened is, because I always say to people, we have let NLP, you know, neuro-linguistic thinking, programming. It's a wrong way of using the mind, as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
What I is, as a child of God, when you begin to think creatively, God begins to bring to you the things that you think. And it is not magic. People in the world are using it in a negative way, but it is something we have not discovered it. That's why we have those limitations. Now, again, as we are talking out to our young people, we also need to speak to ourselves. You and I need to begin to create opportunities. This is one of the opportunities that we are creating, so that they begin to work on themselves. We also need to talk to our peers to see how we can begin to create opportunities for young people. You know, in Africa, people just look after themselves. Me, my family. Do you get what I'm saying? Yes. And even your family, growing up, at least I can tell, I know for sure, when relatives come, you want them to beg and beg and beg and beg and beg, come back tomorrow, come back day after tomorrow. That needs to stop. We need to begin to create opportunities for young people. Enough of our selfish existence.
Wow.
We need to come out of our shells. We need to begin to even seek after the young people to bring them out of where they are. Unfortunately, as well, one of the roadblocks that we have is the government that we have in Africa. Even if you go home and you want to do good things, they are the ones that stack up those obstacles in your path. I'm saying. So definitely, no doubt, there is a lot of problem in Africa, especially with the government. Because if the government do not, you know, if they have friendly or reasonable, in fact, it's not even friendly, reasonably together policies and laws, I think it will. I know so many people that wanted to go home and had to come back because they were frustrated.
It's true.
By the government in our countries. There are lots of people who want to do good, but you just find that these roadblocks are stacked up against you. You have to beg, you have to tell lies for what? And this is your own money that you want to use to bless your country. We've been told diaspora should come home. Then you go home. They ask you to bid for contracts. They want you to, you know, now they are not telling you come and join the system. And you're like, I'm here to change the system. I don't want to join the system. And then you come back, you're frustrated. The people you want to help, you cannot help because they've put this roadblock. So I do agree with you. I will be telling you a lie if I thought, oh, it's just the mindset that can solve the problem. Our problems in Africa are multifaceted. So if I tell you I have a solution, I'll be telling you a lie. Then I would have become God, and I am not. But I think that if our young people start that way, they can begin to attract what they want. After all, there are some people who are breaking through despite it.
Of course.
You can multiply the people who are, you know, coming out of disadvantage into advantageous positions.
Wow.
Just one aspect of how, you know, our young people can come out of, you know, this, I don't even know what to call it. You know, they've been hemmed in. But I think that if they also begin to work on their mind, they can also become a powerful force coming together to say, look, why should we just sit here? We need to do something. And maybe together. I mean, look at what Black Lives Matter. I'm not saying, you know, everything is right. Do you get what I'm saying? But what I'm saying is when people come together, they're a powerful force.
Yes.
Our young people begin to wake up to say, actually, you guys are cheating us out of our future. We want you to do this. Then maybe we will see change. Sometimes in Africa, we are too. I am against violence. I'm not asking them to be violent. I'm not asking them to fight for their rights or whatever. But they can protest. They can make their voices heard. Now, in Africa, they can buy your loyalty for pittance. Once they give ice and whatever, people just sit back, you know, instead of letting them know, actually, these are matters that need to be addressed. Very little satisfy us, and they satisfy us, and they shut our mouths with, you know, silly things that they bring along. So, you know, our problems are multifaceted, but our young people can also liberate themselves. Liberation of minds.
All right, let me go to the next level. That is, I want to ask you about this question, and that is about distractions in this time and age. Distraction, I mean, social media, playing of games, all this is really does not let young people to concentrate. Now, under this lockdown, when I'm teaching my daughter, I always find it too difficult. Just 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they cannot sit down. They're like, I want water, I want this. In our time, if you are sitting down with your dad, no, you dare not ask for water until it's over. This generation, the distractions are too much. Like every second, there is pimping on their phone. A message from Snapchat, a message from here. How can they really concentrate on their education, on their life, amidst all these distractions?
Yes, I think again, I have to say, it's starting them from young. I just told you that my first son did not have a phone until, you know, he left secondary school. And some parents will tell you, oh, it's because I need to know where he is. And I'm like, so before we had a phone, before, you know, mobile phone became common, what would you have done? Do you get what I mean?
Yes.
Sometimes we are the ones who have put ourselves in these positions. Sometimes I seize the phone and I say, you have to focus. That's what I do. Between so hours. Of course, when I've seen your daughter, I know she's a bit young, you know, but you have to make those laws age appropriate. Okay? You can also create a reward system. If you sit down for 30 minutes without asking for water and this is your reward. It works. It's this thing, mindset that we are talking about. Parents have to work on their mindset. Children have to work on their mindset. It takes two to tango. Both parents and young people, because we have to help them. And I always tell my children, I say, look, I know it would be like punishments. I don't hate you. I love you, my child. That's why I'm taking this phone away from you. I'm laughing, but they know mommy means business. You down and do this. Do you know what I'm saying? And then every time I'm like, are we winning? You know, I have cultivated, I have brought together some words that I know will work with them. Sometimes I pull them to my side, I pet them. Don't worry. When you get that A now, you see how you'll be smiling. It's like, yeah, that also inspires them, you know. And the next, I think of something else to inspire them and ginger them up. We need to know, you see, unfortunately, because the other day, my husband and I, we were telling our children, I said, all this one that, you know, we're still trying to encourage you. Back in Africa, your parents don't ask you if you've done your homework, but what beside you that you when they fail. But the times have changed, and we have to change with the times.
Wow.
Yeah, my parents sit down with me to say, okay, so let's look at your homework. I'm doing it here, but I've discovered and accepted it that this is what it requires, and because I love my children, I have decided that I will give it what it takes to help them to be high achievers. So it's both parents and children that need to work on this. So I agree with you. There are distractions. And we time our children 1 hour on your game. After that, that's it. That's the end. So you have to ration it. You don't just give them license to thrill. It can't work. And I told you, I talk to my children. Call them every day. I told myself, Morin, you won't get tired because future in the sight, and they have to attain that. If it means me spending less time on my own, you know, play or whatever, I will do it. It's a sacrifice, and I have to that sacrifice. I have to pay the price.
Mm.
It takes a lot to parent, especially in this, when you're in the West, as opposed to home where you can have genuine people who love you. In fact, it's not even that people don't genuinely love you. They are busy as well.
Yes.
So you have to look after your children. Everybody is busy. But you have to know what your priorities are. When my children were growing up, I had very limited social life because I knew they were my priority. I didn't go to parties or whatever. I sat at home, and now I'm reaping the harvest. When my children even go out, people are always saying it. The other day, my son picked up a phone call. My friend had to say, gosh, what a lovely young man. It's a price I paid. Because you know what? Even on telephone, I trained them how to pick telephone. I trained them. I said, this is how you pick calls. This is what you say. I did. I'm getting the result of what I have sown into their lives.
Wow.
Prepared to pay the price.
Wow. So
those distractions will not be distractions if we have made them to understand that this is not good. And you have earned their trust as they are growing up. So now when mommy tells me no, it's not because she doesn't love me, but it's because she loves me. And she knows where this is going to end. So they trust us.
Wow, that's really powerful. And I think a lot of parents that will be watching this, or those that haven't even yet married, this is a powerful discussion for you. Now, I think I've got one or two messages here. One says, bless you for this message. That is from Isaac Benjamin Yakun. And from Babosa Bimpong, good advice. I think people are already falling in love with you already. Yes. Now I think I'm about to wrap up, but quickly. Now with this George Floyd, Floyd death has really opened the wound for us to have open discussion on racism.
That's right.
Young people are also watching. They are listening to the news. They know what is going on. Do you think it's going to have a positive impact on them, especially young Black people, or a negative impact?
That is a deep question, but I think you see, the thing again, like I keep saying, it goes back to home. I have 2 young boys, and when this happened, I had to sit them down, and I said, first of all, I asked them what they felt. It took a bit of prodding before my son opened up and said, you know, Mom, I'm just tired. You can't imagine how my heart broke when my son said that. Mom, I'm just tired. When will this ever end? Will it ever end? Do you get me? So as a mother, how did I approach it? I sat him down and I began to speak to him. Of course, being a Christian parent, I spoke from a Christian perspective. The fact that, look, God made everybody equal, but unfortunately, human beings are not cooperating with God. And what I have said, and this is what my husband and I also say, is that honestly, human beings, we are just like that. Unfortunately, the Bible says all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. I tell you today, Oscar, if it was the Black people that had the upper hand, do you think they would act differently? No. After Egypt used to be a superpower. To have slaves? Were they good towards them? No. All the civilization, Rome, Britain used to be under Rome. They didn't have it easy. Do you get what I'm saying? It's coming around. Yes, I'm a Black person. I don't want to be where I am today. But that is the truth of the matter. And the thing is, it is the human heart. They are fighting hard. They think, okay, we've got this advantageous position. We don't want to lose it. But coming down to your question, I had to say to my son, do you know what? We need to have hope. We cannot just give up and say, oh, what's going to happen? And so, yes, I believe in campaigning. I believe in protests. I believe in raising our voices. But it's what we tell them when they come home that will make or break our children. our young people. We cannot leave them to just form their own opinions and gather together with their friends. We need to also raise our voices and speak to them and calm them down and say, look, force is not what is going to win this war for us or win this battle for us. There are things that we need to do. And part of that is what we're doing today. Look at what even Black people do upon Black people. I know a lot of people will not agree with me on this because that is just it. But they voice their own opinion. I'm voicing my own opinion. It's a free world. If they think they have an entitlement to their own opinion, I am also entitled to my own opinion. And this is the way I have been able to help my children to find meaning to the evil that is in the world. What about people who kidnap? Look at what is going on in Nigeria. There's security there. We're not carrying placards there. Do you get what I'm saying? So we need to bring things into perspective. Yes, you know, it's bad what is happening to Black people. Look at South Africa. They've been free. But excuse me, are they really free? Do you get what I'm saying? So it's not just Black Lives Matter or whatever. There's too much evil in the world. So for our young people, I always tell them, work on your self-worth. Work on your self-esteem. People define who you are. Don't let those labels stick on you. So, my friend, in spite of these obstacles, you will overcome. What you have on the inside of you is greater than the forces that are coming against you. With a little help from us, you can navigate your way through life. But for me, as a Christian parent, God is number one in their lives. And I always bring them back to that.
Wow. That's really powerful. I think I've got some few comments here. Let me just read them and we're going to wrap up. Alex Martin says solutions oriented. Thank you. He also says master your mind. And Evans Ni Odoitete says, welcome, Oscar. Your guest is fantastic. I think
wow.
Yes, I think you are already doing a powerful job today, and people are really getting in tune. Now, before I wrap up, I want to ask you, what does the future hold for a young man or a young girl, young lady on the African continent in diaspora? What does the future hold for them?
One of the things that I've been seeing is that actually, to be honest with you, our young people are I think there's some ceilings already. I mean, you see, I think I read on LinkedIn that this cohort, this 2020, had more Black people graduating from Harvard than ever before. When you see figures like that, it gives you hope. It makes you think that the future is bright. And so I don't think it's all doom and gloom, especially with, I mean, we can already see changes that are being made. Just all the protests about George Floyd. There are changes. It may be slow, but they are coming. So I think the future is bright. We just need to help them to focus and channel all these, talents and gifts that God has given them in the right way. When we help them to focus on achieving and jumping through those hurdles, letting them know that it is possible, because that's where it starts from. Diaspora, there are opportunities. There are opportunities. The other day, my husband and I were saying, he's in this country that you can still go to uni at age 80 and nobody's looking at you like, what are you doing here? You don't get that kind of opportunity in Africa. So in the diaspora, I think that there are great opportunities. We just need to help our children, steer them in the right direction so that we can recognize those opportunities and take those opportunities. But we ourselves need to also have the right mindset. If we have the victim mentality, I know some children who have moved away from their parents because their parents are always negative rather than positive. So we need to be liberated in our minds so that we can give them that push in the right direction. But I think the future is bright. I am very full of hope.
Wow, the future is bright. It's really interesting you saying that children have left their parents because their parents are too negative.
Yes.
And that is really a powerful thing to hear, because if the energy is wrong, if the energy is not right, it can really derail you, and it can really motivate you.
Exactly. Now, let me just quickly say, and the reason why I say that, I remember I went to was an event, and there was this young person that was saying to the parent, I won't say if it's male or female because I don't want to stir anything, but what I could deduct from what the conversation was, even though the parent thought that they were doing the right thing, that child felt like they were, the way they handled the situation, they could have handled bringing her up in a different way. Do you get what I mean? And it's not the first time that I've seen it, So parents need to win the trust of their children back. We need, a lot of young people have left home. My son goes from home to uni, and some people ask me, how did you do it? And I said, I didn't do anything. It was just, a natural thing. Wow. And we told him, we said, do it. It's how you do it. And like I said, I want to leave hope. It's never too late. You can still win back your children when you admit, okay, maybe we did it wrong, but we can do it differently this time.
Wow. Yeah. That's powerful. Yes, I think we are wrapping up now. But before we go, I want you to understand that this program is being sponsored by P&Q Personnel. P&Q Personnel is your agency for hiring healthcare assistants and nurses based in the UK. WhatsApp +4475 911 52983 for more details. And also, this program is also sponsored by ALS Global Shipping and Logistics. If you also want to speak to them, there's a comment section over there where their telephone number is there. You can contact them as well. Now, if you want to advertise on this show, there is a WhatsApp number, 2 WhatsApp numbers that are scrolling on the taskbar. Just send us a message. We are one of the most affordable platforms that you can ever have. We want to, apart from you advertising, we are also going to support you for you to grow your business as a consultant hub. We are going to help you to grow your business, help you to strategically position your business, and help your business in terms of business development for your business to get to the right level where you want it to be. It's going to be another powerful segment coming Thursday, and I've got a young man all the way from Gambia. He's coming on the show. He's very enthusiastic, doing the unthinkable at a young age. He was a former minister, and the young man is doing exceptionally well. And these are the kind of stories we really want to tell for people to understand that, look, there is still hope on the African continent. If A can do it, then it means that you can also do it. You don't need to give up here. Work on your mind. And I always say that your mind is the most powerful resource that you can ever have. It is the most powerful magnet that you can ever have. Whatever you don't have, your mind can attract it if you have got a powerful vision. And that is why I want people to believe that giving up depends on you. But if you continue to pursue and be solution-oriented, I can tell you over time you are going to win this war.
That's right.
You can win this battle. And as I always say, your success or failure depends on you, not a third party. The moment I see people giving an excuse that my auntie did not help me, my uncle did not help me, my friend did not help me, that person said he was going to give you money, I see you as a failure. I always say, what about you? What have you done for yourself? Are you blaming yourself? If you cannot blame yourself, then you don't have any right to blame anybody. Because your success and failure depends on you first. Anybody that comes along the journey to support you is a plus. You have to take that one as an added advantage. But you have to create your own advantage by creating that path yourself. So it's been a wonderful discussion with Morin Carew, a woman that's passionate about young people and she is making a difference in the UK and across the African continent. I would say thank you very much for coming on the show, and we are really pleased for having you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, it's been a really good time spending time with you, and yeah, it's been good.
Your last word to everyone watching us. What are you telling them?
Right. So what I'm telling, especially the young people, is please believe in yourself. That's where it starts from. And like Oscar has said, you know, I don't want to echo all the things that he has said. You attract what what you have on the inside. It's so important for you to start within. So you need to look within yourself, assess yourself where you are, and be truthful with yourself. The other thing is, you know, like we learned during my leadership classes, is that we all have blind spots. And so maybe if you find a trusted friend and ask them to evaluate you, what do they think are, you know, your qualities? And what do they think that, you know, areas in which you need to improve? And then take it on board. You know, it's called, you know, it's not just criticism, you know. We need to be able to take correction. That's one of the things that I teach my children. When somebody corrects you, take it as somebody who loves you. Okay? That's called constructive criticism. Take it on board and work on those areas. You know, and don't start hanging around waiting for handoffs, you know, or handouts. Know that, like I said, God brought us into this world, each person with our purpose in our hands. It's to discover it and develop it. Yes, there are obstacles. Like I tell my children, life is not fair. So once you know that life is not fair, but you have been given potentials to overcome the unfairness that is in this world. Wow. And you need to be determined to overcome, knowing that you are able. That's where it starts from. You are able. Thank you very much.
You are able. That is the last word I'm taking home. And I want to read the last comment. Joseph Kwekwe say, thanks guys, I have learned a lot from this interview. Thank you for your comment. Now we are going to end here, and I want you to know that we are coming live, coming Thursday, 7 p.m. GMT. That is 7 p.m. Ghana time. UK is 8 p.m. Just join this. And if you are watching us for the first time, and this is your first time of chancing on this platform, T2i TV, please like our page and go to YouTube and look for T2i TV and like it or subscribe to it, so that whenever we are live, you will get alert for you to join us. We have said that this platform is an educational hub for Africa. This is not a platform for Ghana. This is not a platform for Nigeria. This is not a platform for Kenya. This is not a platform for Gambia. It is a platform for all Africans. We want to create that educational hub where young people are going to harness their talent. They are going to get support systems. They are going to really work on their vision, and they are going to get mentors for them to really succeed. And for us to do this, we cannot do it alone. Your token of support is to share this video. Your token of support is to like this video. Your token of support is to share it on your WhatsApp group. Because we are living on a continent where politics, entertainment, and sports have overtaken over every form of education, to the neglect of the young people of Africa. But we are trying to change the narrative that we want to stand on the side of education. And we believe that for us to do it, we cannot do it alone, but only with your support. So please give us your token of support and help us to build a formidable platform that young people will be liberated for them to succeed on a continent where many have given up. But a land that is full of opportunities. I always say that where there are so many problems, that is where there are opportunities. When you come to the UK, they have solved a lot of their problems. When you go to Africa, there are so many problems. People don't buy problems, people buy solutions. We want to let the African young people to understand that they have to be solution-oriented. If there are so many problems on the continent, then that is an opportunity for them to solve. Instead of complaining, you have to find solutions. The Chinese are coming to Africa. The Indians are coming. Now you have got even restaurants from Taiwan on the streets of Accra. All of these people are making business. The Lebanese is being rich on the continent of Africa. But we are sitting on that continent and complaining. It is time for us to have that paradigm shift. And that paradigm shift starts from T2i TV. We want to create that hub where we are going to educate our people beyond the classroom for them to understand that they can also succeed on that land. Thank you very much, Morin, once again. And I want to say to everyone, thank you for having us. See you on Thursday, 7 p.m. UK time. 7 p.m. Ghana time and 8 p.m. UK time. Thank you very much, Morin. Bye. Bye-bye, everyone. See you on Thursday, 7 p.m. GMT. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I am so excited.
Far above all I could ask or think, believe, yes, I believe. You say, I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think. I believe that you are able to do exceedingly abundantly, far above all I could ask or think, believe, yes, I believe.